Welcome to W&L Sports Weekly. I'm your host, Jeremy Franklin. This week we'll speak with women's soccer coach Neil Cunningham, cross-country captain Cathy Collier, and football captain Greg Kurkis. But first, a quick look back at the weekend in Washington and Lee sports. As always, you can find all of the latest W&L news, including detailed recaps and stats, here at generalsports.com. On Saturday, Frank Muriello became Washington and Lee's all-time winningest football coach, notching his 77th career victory as the Generals opened up Odac play with a 55-29 road win over Guilford. Coach Muriello breaks the record held by his predecessor, the late Gary Fallon, who won 76 games from 1978 to 94. Also over the weekend, the women's cross-country team placed 9th in a 36-team field at Lehigh's Paul Short Invitational, while the men finished 6th out of 12 schools at the Great American Cross Country Festival in Cary, North Carolina. Field hockey improved to 2-0 in the Odac with a win over Sweetbriar, then beat Mary Washington for the first time in 4 seasons. Volleyball secured a 3-0 conference win on the road against Virginia Wesleyan, while women's soccer shut out Sweetbriar and North Carolina Wesleyan, and men's soccer lost 3-1 at Guilford. With me now is women's soccer coach Neil Cunningham. Neil, welcome back to the show.
Thanks.
In terms of your team's form, where are the Generals now versus where they need to be in late October when the Odac tournament starts? I think we're in a good spot. It's not where I would like to be. We had a couple of tough losses early in the season, but I think we'll, as October shakes out, I think we'll be right where we need to be by the end of the season, hopefully. We saw a 5-goal outburst for the Generals at North Carolina Wesleyan on Sunday. Are you starting to see the type of goal production that we know the Generals are capable of?
I think we're creating chances. That's been evident from the start. We're creating enough chances to win games. We're just not converting. We don't really have that scorer who's going to get us 15, 20 a season, so that's going to be a struggle. And even, Sunday we won 5-0. We had 5 different scorers, so that's the way I think things are going to shake out for us most of the season is people just have to chip in and do their share. And right now our leading scorer is a right back, but we'll take it.
Sunday's win was your 200th as a head coach. What does that milestone mean to you?
It means I'm old, and I've been around for 200 games. So that's one thing it makes you realize is, yeah, you're getting old. But until it was in the program, a couple of days before that at home, I didn't really realize or appreciate, and then it's only when people start to talk about it. It is neat. I mean, I'm not going to lie to you and say you don't take notice. You do. It is a neat thing, but what you really start to think about is all those people that you had, that you've coached, and first of all, how old you are and how old they are. And, again, some of those wins are obviously not at Washington and Lee, so they go back quite a while.
We've got a very tough stretch of the season coming up. Road matches against Lynchburg and Randolph-Macon, sandwiched around that rematch with Virginia Wesleyan from last year's conference final, which will be at Watt Field next Wednesday. What do the Generals need to do to perform well in those games? Yeah,
we got a brutal week. Thanks to the Odac matrix, it didn't do us any favors, but going Lynchburg Friday night, it's going to be a tough game. But, I think we're a lot more ready than we were 2-3 weeks ago, and we need to see that top competition to see where we are. And it is going to be a tough week, but we're finally healthy, so we've got everyone fit, ready to go.
Neil, thanks for joining us. Good luck the rest of the season.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
I'm joined now by Cathy Collier, senior cross-country captain from Radford. Cathy, welcome to the show.
Hi.
Generals won the W&L Invitational and then had good finishes at Dickinson and Lehigh. In your view, how has the first month of the regular season gone for Washington and Lee?
Well, it's gone well, and definitely with every race, we've had good finishings, and we've learned a lot from each race, and you can just tell immediately after the lessons we've learned and started to grow from that. At our home meet, I wasn't able to run. I actually had the flu, but everyone stayed. It was really neat to watch because everyone was really, really close together. Our course is a very difficult one, so the times weren't, particularly fast. And then the next week at Dickinson, it was a very fast course, but we kind of lost a little bit of the teamwork aspect. We kind of got really competitive and forgot, our plan of helping each other and working together. And then this past weekend at the Paul Short meet and even at our dual meet, we got faster and started working together. So we're definitely making improvements each race we have.
You mentioned the dual meet, which was against Southern Virginia, which you placed first in. What does that race win mean to you?
Well, definitely meant a lot. We're a very good and competitive team, so any day that I can show up, even though our front runners weren't in that race, again, people perform well every day, and it's just any day I could go out there and finish on top. I have a lot of respect for my teammates, and it was really exciting. It was a lot of fun, and I didn't get to run the home course, so it was kind of my farewell run on the W&L cross country course.
What does your position as captain entail, especially with so many first years and sophomores on the team?
Yeah, we have over half the team is underclassmen, so that's the definite first, and something we haven't really seen other captains be able to handle. And just being runners, I think maybe W&L students in general really have strong personalities, and it helps to have definite leadership roles, just to sort of remind everyone, at practice, just promoting like good lifestyles and getting everyone motivated. Being captain, so you don't have too many cooks in the kitchen. We're the definite, leaders on the team, and there's a lot of people, don't necessarily know what our routines are as a team. It's just really important to kind of instill like traditions that we've had since freshmen and make sure they keep going.
What will the Generals need to do to reclaim the Odac championship when you run at Randolph at the end of the month?
Well, hopefully we'll keep getting faster, but we also need to just remember to keep running together. Like at the Paul Short meet, I think our spread from our 1 to 5 runner, I think it was about 1 minute and 30 seconds, and Bridgewater and Lynchburg also have really tight spreads. And at the dual meet, I think we're about a minute apart from our 1 through 5 runners in that race, and we just need to really make sure we keep it packed together, because especially in a small meet, we need to really feel our presence when we're running.
Cathy, thanks for joining us on the show. Good luck the rest of the way.
Thank you.
With me now is Greg Kirkus, senior football captain from Roswell, Georgia. Greg, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
General's offense has been up and down so far in 2010, but you're coming off the Guilford game in which you scored 55 points and had 462 rushing yards. What does Washington and Lee need to do to develop a little bit more consistency, especially as you get deeper into the Odac schedule?
I think one of the big points, especially in our style of offense, is to mainly try and eliminate mistakes in our games. Get rid of mental errors. We need to execute more consistently on a more consistent basis, and to just do a better job as individuals performing our tasks. I guess we have 2 games where we score a lot of points, and 2 games not so much, and I guess that's partially attributed to better football teams. When you play them, they'll capitalize to a greater extent when you make a mistake, versus a not so good football team will not be able to take advantage of a mistake you make, and you can get away with some things. And I think that showed up in the score both weeks, in that we were able to do our job correctly most of the time, but at times we were also made mistakes, but we were able to get away with them. And that certainly won't be the case this coming week with Emory and Henry.
What does it mean to you and your teammates to be a part of Coach Muriello's record-setting win?
I'm very happy to be a part of it. It was a great experience. We get to dump the ice cooler on Coach after the game at Guilford. And just for us as a team, it shows us really how my 4 years and this year in particular are just a small part of what Coach Muriello has done at this institution over the past several years. I've been a privilege to be a part of the legacy he's given this school and this program in general, and just overall very happy for Coach, and just to be a part of that, and hopefully we'll be a group that he remembers as being associated with that big victory on Saturday.
You're a 3-time all-conference selection on the offensive line. You were also the Odac Scholar Athlete of the Year in 2009. How do you balance academics with the demands of a football schedule?
It's not too difficult. I mean, one of the great things about Division III, I think, is that it's not Division I football, so football won't consume your life. You have time outside of practice and games and whatnot to pursue other interests and concentrate on your schoolwork, because at Division III we're not really playing professionally after this, not planning on going to the NFL or anything, and one of the key points to that, I guess, would be to, during the season especially, is that you got to practice time management. I think myself and a lot of my teammates would agree with me that during the season it's oftentimes easier to make better grades just because there's so much structure in your day. You get out of class, you have practice, and basically dinner and then homework. Some variation to that. There's time for pleasure as well, but that's just one of the things that I try to practice, constantly, is trying to look ahead for assignments and whatnot, and just kind of keep on top of things. Yeah.
What can Washington really accomplish in the Odac this year? How do you go about getting to those goals?
Well, I mean, coming off our first Odac victory last week, we certainly expect nothing less to be the Odac champions. That's obviously not an easy task. We have a lot of very tough opponents ahead of us. At least one, if not two, nationally ranked teams in the conference this year. But as I said before, if we come out to play mistake-free every weekend, I believe we can play with any team in the conference. From an offensive standpoint, we have a lot of experience. I think we've shown that we have the ability to put up a lot of points on the board when we can. And on defense, we might be young, but it's probably one of the most fast. It's probably one of the fastest and most athletic groups I've seen, maybe since my freshman year here.
Greg, thanks so much for joining us. Good luck the rest of the season.
Thank you.
Volleyball heads to Newport News this weekend for the CNU Invitational. On Friday, the Generals will face the host, 6th-ranked Christopher Newport, as well as Haverford. On Friday evening, the women's soccer team takes on Odac rival Lynchburg at Schellenberger Field. On Saturday, volleyball returns to action at CNU with matches against 10th-ranked Wisconsin Oshkosh and Virginia Wesleyan. Field hockey travels to number 12 Lynchburg for a key Odac contest, and men's soccer also has a big road conference match against Hampton-Sydney. Back in Lexington, W&L will take on Emory and Henry in Odac football action at Wilson Field. Kickoff for the Generals' homecoming game is at 1:30. Also this weekend, women's tennis will compete at the Odac Individual Championships hosted by Hollins, while golf participates in the Virginia State Intercollegiate Tournament at Wintergreen. For W&L Sports Weekly, I'm Jeremy Franklin. Thanks for watching.